Hi there, welcome back to another vlog. I guess this is going to be a little bit of a summer recap type of vlog because I hadn't really filmed anything since the beginning of the summer. And it's been a bit of a different summer for me, so I'm kind of do a bit of a recap. But before I get into it, I actually have a little bit of a celebration for myself. Officially today, on September 17th, is 5 years at Intact Insurance, my day job. So I kind of going to celebrate a little bit of that, pat myself on the back. It's the longest I've ever been with any company, and then in the industry of the insurance industry, especially, this is it's been challenging at times, but it's actually been quite rewarding. So I'm kind of happy with where I am with my day job, and of course, with this past summer, it's been busy. There's been a lot of hailstorms, and on the automotive side of insurance, we've been actually quite busy. So, but it's got its challenges, but it's been good. It's been good. So, but other than that, with this past summer, I actually got to do a little bit of traveling. Me and my wife got to spend a lot of time together. We like to go do long walks. So we actually been going to a few provincial parks, going to do some big walks, and then also I got to go to Ontario, visit a lot of my family and my relatives that I hadn't seen in a long time. And actually, we had flown into Windsor, Ontario. Spent some time there with my sisters in Amherstburg and Bell River, and then with my mom in Windsor. And then we traveled all the way up to Sudbury, where a lot of my relatives are, and actually got to go to a family reunion on my mother's side, the Charbonneaus. So we went for a day there, and then we actually drove all the way up to a little town called Gogama, which is up by Timmins, and that's actually where my father is from. And I actually got to go see my father's grave, which I hadn't been there since 2007, I believe it was. Yeah. So it'd been quite a while since I went up and made that trip. So I was really grateful for that trip, and it was really a lot of fun. And then with the summertime, I've actually had been dealing with a lot of things that were non-musical. So actually, this past summer, I actually hadn't played as much guitar as I normally had. So I had to kind of take a bit of a break from playing guitar, and I had to concentrate a little bit more on my health. Now, I've had a bit of some health issues in the last little while, so I've actually had to really change things. Fortunately, we had to cancel a gig. I came down with some stuff, dealing with a bleeding stomach ulcer, which is not fun. And of course, it's hereditary. Thanks, Dad. But you could have not given me that. But anyway, and it's from stress and other things. But I've actually been dealing a bit with that. So it's actually changed a lot of my health, overall health in a way, in that I've had to change my diet. Quite a bit, with being on medication and whatnot, and having to, remove certain things from my diet that I normally consume every day. When the big one is actually coffee. I've actually gone, I think it's been, almost 8 weeks now without having a coffee. And for me, that's a big deal. When you go pretty much 30 years without drinking coffee, and then all of a sudden you got to cold turkey stop drinking coffee. It's been a big impact to me, especially withdrawals, headaches in the first little while. But I'm kind of over that, and I kind of replaced it with drinking a little bit of green tea. And of course, my overall health, I've really been working on a lot of different aspects of my health now. Alcohol, not a big deal for me. I don't really drink anymore anyway, so that wasn't a big factor. But the other one was chocolate. I love chocolate, and I can't have chocolate. So I was like, oh boy, I like my sweets, right? But the benefit from all of that is that I've actually dropped 15 pounds over the summer. So celebrate that too, I guess. So with every negative can come a positive, and that's kind of the mental outlook that I'm looking at things now. So, and then the other aspect of my health, my mental health, my emotional health, I've really been concentrating on. I've actually started getting into starting meditation now. Which is, I think, going to really benefit me long term, especially lifestyle changes and whatnot. And it's different, so it's a big change. But I'm kind of moving forward, and gonna, I want to live a long and healthy life, so I need to do these things. But besides that, those I know right away are wondering what's going on music-wise with me. Of course, I haven't played as much guitar as I normally do, which guitar for me is a big thing. And music, I'm passionate about music, and kind of taking a bit of a break, and not all the time, but as not played as much, not practiced as much. I try to keep at least a Saturday or a Sunday morning for at least a few hours. So here and there I could do that, keep your chops up, and then start learning as well. And those that have been following me know that I'm trying to put together a Pantera tribute with my boys from Castigate. And then we've only had one full jam now where we actually went through a few Pantera songs. And we don't have a singer yet. And it's interesting because I haven't really made a big announcement about looking for a singer, but I've actually had a couple people actually approach me that when we're ready to, start playing with a singer, start jamming, try people out, that they're interested. So a couple of people are already interested. So that's kind of cool. But in the whole aspect of the tribute band thing, like those that follow me know I used to do the Metallica tribute. And that had a lot of rewards in itself. Especially on the financial side, the most money I've ever played as a musician was playing in a tribute band. And, bar band, I've done the cover bands before, but the tribute was really the most rewarding in that I enjoyed the fact that you can actually play a character. You play as someone else in a way, right? And you put on a show. I like to perform on stage and I like to put on a show. And actually, recently, our last Siren show, no, it's two Siren shows ago. So not this, was it last weekend? Yeah, it would have been last weekend, actually. We played up down in, I guess it's going south is down, right? So we played actually down in Lethbridge and we played second, and the headliner was actually a Motorhead tribute band. And just watching those guys, and I chatted with the guitar player and the drummer for a bit too. They approached us and chatted with Brian and I, and got to know, Les and Rob a little bit. And I think his name was Rob. And we got to chat with them and watch them play. You can tell these are guys that just enjoy playing the music. They're only about it for the music, and that's the rewarding thing. And for me to do a tribute, I gotta really enjoy it. Not that I didn't enjoy the Metallica. I grew up on Metallica, but nowadays Metallica doesn't make as much of an impact to me, even though I know a lot of the music, right? So, but for me, doing the Pantera thing is much more my speed because I love Pantera. I still do. I still play a lot of the licks. And I'm actually starting to acquire, some of the Dimebag Essential kind of music stuff, right? I'm not an amp yet. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the amp, but I'm actually, even before I go into the rest of this, I'm actually planning on doing a lot more content now for my YouTube channel, and that I'm actually going to have like along the way with the Pantera tribute. And I'm actually going to restart my weekly Shreddies show. I've been thinking about it. It's very, with me trying to find things that I'm passionate about, enjoy more, especially for my emotional mental health. I want to do more guitar oriented content, and I love teaching a bit. And I love talking guitar gear. So I've actually decided I'm going to restart the weekly Shreddies, and I'm actually going to, go back to featuring guitars and talk about my music stuff. And actually, I got some different guitars now. Like I've got my Washburn here, and I've actually got a couple of PRSs now. And I've actually changed my, I guess, good guitar arsenal a bit in the last little while. That actually I should probably do a video of my current collection, because it's changed quite dramatically. I sell guitars here and there. So I think maybe that'll be maybe another video I'll do soon, is maybe like an update video. But anyway, so yeah, there will be some more content on YouTube in the next while. I know I'm kind of jumping around here and there. But also like with the summer with Siren, we actually made a trip out to Winnipeg and Regina. Over a weekend, slightly more than a weekend, and then had a little bit of a fun trip. And we brought Nick out on the road for the first time, more or less, the new guitar player that we have with us. And it's always good times traveling with the band, right? So we had the fun of that. We've had a couple of shows here now, Lethbridge and Calgary. We just did Calgary back on, Wednesday night, opening for the Anchor and Notions. I think that's what they're called, Notions. And then, of course, Horrify closed the show. I didn't stick around, unfortunately, because sleep is very important to me now, and it was a work night. I had to be up really early at 5 a.m, so I had to kind of scoot out of there quickly, sneak out, more or less, me and Brian. But Brian went back to the show after. We kind of dropped all the gear off. But anyway, So yeah, next little while with Siren, I know we're planning on writing the next album. That's the one thing that I've kind of had a struggle in the last little while. If I've got I'm kind of a big component in the Siren songwriting. I write a lot of the music, the not the lyrics, a lot of the guitar riffs. I get a lot of guitar riff ideas. I have a certain way of formatting together like pieces of music and presenting them to the band. And I actually haven't really done much of that in the last while. We have one song we started jamming that I had kind of put together, but I've got a lot of riffs and stuff. But I've actually struggled in this whole summer with finding any inspiration to write music. Sometimes maybe because I haven't practiced as much, I tend to come up with riffs and song ideas and whatnot. Usually when I practice a lot, usually I could just sit here. If I'm learning a scale, for example, or learning something in a specific key, then a riff will just kind of come to me and I'll just quickly kind of record myself and kind of put it in a folder. And I do have a folder with some music in there, but I don't have quite a lot of stuff. So I know I got to kind of get up and get up there, start getting creative again. But the inspiration just hasn't been hitting me in the last little while. And maybe it's because I've kind of had that relaxed mindset of taking the summer off. But I'm a very busybody. I like to be very active musically, right? So maybe I'll find a way to bring that inspiration back. But the other thing is that, with me now kind of focusing a little bit on the Pantera stuff, is that I'm kind of enjoying really playing again, right? Because playing in when it can get kind of stale after a while and you want to find that excitement. And for me, learning some of, my big idol Dimebag and learning some of his riffs and his licks is starting to spur me up again to get some inspiration. So that's the good thing, is that, maybe with all that, it'll go hand in hand, with playing original music is learning other people's music, right? You draw from influences and you draw from those certain aspects. But even with me in the last bit, I've actually not been listening to as much like hard metal, like the heavy stuff as much, right? Lately, my big go-to groups have been more like Alter Bridge and Mammoth WVH. Those are kind of like my big ones. And then I kind of like some of the old school stuff from, Van Halen to Bad Company and Journey. I like kind of that kind of old school stuff. ZZ Top especially, kind of like the blues and whatnot, bluesy, rocky old stuff. So that's kind of where myself mentally I've kind of been in the last while, and I'm actually making some kind of plans for the future. And that I want to become a much more versatile guitar player. I know I mentioned on another one of my vlogs that I wanted to get into more jazz and more learning some other aspects of music, because I wouldn't mind becoming a session player. Once I get into my early 50s, I want to be a session player, and maybe somehow make some music playing or make some money playing music, because playing original metal, right? There's no money in this, right? I've been in Siren for 5.5 years now, and I've never made a penny, right? Anything that the band makes, which most of our money we make from merch, goes right back into the band. It goes back into funneling and back into the band, paying for recording, paying for trips, so that there really isn't much profit, more or less. And especially even plays on Spotify and whatnot. I remember like the first album, we had like 4,000 plays on Spotify and the band made 22 cents. So it just like, there's no money in playing music. So you kind of have to find other aspects, like find other avenues to make any kind of generate any kind of income playing music, right? Whether I know some people I follow will be teachers. They'll teach. They'll do live streaming, and then some of them do sound. You got to have other avenues to make money playing music. And anyway, because the just playing original music, especially metal, there's no money to be made. So, and me, after doing this for so many years, I'd like to make something doing this. And that's why I've kind of want to go back to the tribute, for example, and that, back in the days when I did do a tribute, I actually made some money. All right. And it was fun because, you start collecting the gear, more than just playing like them. You actually get the gear and try to look the part. And I remember when I did the Metallica tribute, I actually had a Kirk Hammett ESP, not the LTD version. I actually had a Kirk Hammett ESP. And now that I'm starting to gather some of this Dimebag stuff, it's kind of going to be fun for me in a sense, you know, where it can kind of collect and then, you know, portray as much as I can. I can't play exactly like Dimebag. Nobody can, even with the current formation of Pantera and Zach Wild playing the Pantera stuff. It's Zach Wild playing in Pantera. It doesn't sound like Dimebag in any way, really. He's doing his best and he's doing a pretty good job. And that's kind of like when I want to have my style is kind of play me as, you know, give tribute and homage to Dimebag as best as I can. So, but anyway, this video is getting a little too long as it is. So I'm going to sign off here. I can hear there's some action going on upstairs right now. So I got to get to some stuff here. But anyway, until next time, shred on. Take care.